So it's Father's Day, June 21st, Sunday, and it's a really nice day. So I thought I'd just take a video of the perimeter. I'm at the far corner of the property, and you can kind of see where the birdhouses are lined up. This was the previous location of a fence, and it came out actually to about this far, equal with the pine tree. And it was rotten, and there were several posts, and the cross members were all rotten. And so I took it down, and not completely scrapping. You can kind of see the rot where the screws were. This is just mush, but it's good to hold a birdhouse up now. But this fence was rotten, and there were, I don't know, 15, 20 posts. The cross members were 2 by 6 by 10 feet long. So let's see, it's about 200 feet long that was this fence. There were about 20 sections. And here was, there was a slab, a concrete slab, which I've removed, and the earth will reclaim this. I don't need to have this threshold here. And there was an archway. Envision some kind of a trellisy archway. You can see my shadow. Yep, there was an archway, and I think there was a wedding here at one point. And there were rocks spaced all along the way. So I'm just going to make this all smooth and incorporate it in part of the lawn for the house. And so I did reclaim all the timbers. There were 40 boards all together, and I put them over in the woodshed garage, and they've been repurposed. I cut off the ends about 1.5 inches on both ends, and so until the wood was good. This is actually the rear door of the house, but it's the most widely used. And so I repurposed that slab that was out there and actually made it here at the bottom of the stairs, relocated it, and then reshaped the entry to this house, which can be muddy in the
Headlights bleed on wet asphalt. This ghost town smells of salt. A summer that never truly happened, just echoes on the waves, fading into shallow graves.
Spring. We'll see how it goes. To be continued. We've got our flower arrangements here, which I'll keep alive. It's been a few days without rain, but we'll keep them alive. I'll show you the boards in the garage. What we had, well, these were the boards. It was a white painted fence, and these were originally 10-footers, so they're slightly shorter, and I got 4 that remain. The other 36 I repurposed for raised garden beds. And so let's go take a look out at that. Let's see if I can sneak out this way by the Alice Chalmers and we'll work our way out towards our new garden area. This is our dead implement graveyard, our project area. And just making it good. I can take the dolly and put it in the high hoop house. I don't need it out here. Nice day today. It was a rest day for me because in the morning I was cleaning out the pond. We'll take a look at that too. Over here, rows of peppers. I won't aim the camera at the sun, but we'll take a look away from the sun. So let's see, every rafter is about 3.5 feet. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 35 feet. Peppers and flowers. Over here on the right, we have our bags of tomatoes. And they're in the process of getting them arranged, and I will set up the stakes for the trellis work. So think of 2 rows, and they'll come to where I'm standing here. So that will be and then we can do a row here crosswise. We'll leave this area open for traffic, and then we'll lay down some more plastic all the way up to where the peppers were, down there. Susie thought she was going to lay some lettuce here, but I think we have so many tomatoes here. I'm walking right past them. We got so many tomatoes that we can't afford to use this space for lettuce. We're going to lay down the plastic and do like what's on the right hand side here with trellising, and we'll smooth this over here on my left and bring the tomatoes all the way up to here. So we'll have 40 stakes, 2 rows, kind of like a big, not a U, but a big kind of a J, I guess. And this will be our first year with tomatoes. In the barrels, I've got chips when I shredded the apple tree limbs and stuff. I've got these chips. This is good for the walking path area. However, now that we're not doing lettuce or doing this, I'll probably get the chips out here and we'll send them out by the blueberries. This is the material that we are using for the fabric cloth under the tomatoes. And each roll is 300 feet. So that's what you see here is 3 strips. This whole hoop house is 100 feet long, and so we get another roll, and I'll use roughly half, maybe a little bit more than half for the remainder here. The tomatoes in the bags are looking good. They hold moisture well, and they're going to grow. So the tomato trellis that I'm using, I got these 8-footers. I'm going to set this up against here. We got 8 feet, and if I sink it down past the flag, that the foot flag, then I've got roughly 7 feet tall, which is taller than me, and we're going to lay conduit across lengthwise. So I've got to get more posts, more conduit, and then we drop the strings from the horizontal bars, the conduit across the top. So we're just calculating how many T-posts and conduit pieces that we need to get fairly soon. These need to start being trained up a string. So when the sun shines, it could be 110, 115 degrees, and then my thermometer doesn't work beyond that. We have a shade cloth coming, and it's been ordered. It's 30% shade cloth, and it will be about 26 feet wide, not quite to the hip corners, but for the bulk of the sky surface, and 100 feet long. So this structure is actually 96, so there'll be some extra. Maybe I'll drape it down over that polycarbonate wall. But the idea is not to make it excruciatingly hot in here, which it can get. You know, ventilation and fans and louvers. This model doesn't have that yet. We might add on to that. I'm going to close these doors for the day. Sophisticated locking system is just a carpentry clamp. We did have rains a few days ago, and this ground basically turns into a muddy flat. I am in the process of trying to level this ground so that truck traffic can approach this. The hillside, it wants to slope high from the right to the left. I want to make like a level section here. We did order some topsoil, and this is a portion of it, and that's what we use for the tomato bags. And we have our compost. This is actually manure. We've got compost in the back end of the pickup truck that we pull back here. And just a working table here. Nothing sophisticated, but it's working for now. Let's go on out to the market garden here and take a look. And then I can complete my thought about the fence and those boards and what has become of that surplus wood, the weathered wood. Those were the fence posts leaning up against the barn. Let's see, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, plus the 3 out there, and 1 was rotten. That's 20, roughly 20. Okay, let's get out of the path of the sun so I can swing the camera around. We see remnants of more topsoil. We're going to feed this into this little plot, this little square plot, where there's going to be squash and pumpkins. And then I'm going to fence in this area to keep the deer out. I will go walk this way between the rows so I'm not facing the sun. But these are the 6 raised garden beds that we made. And I'm generally pleased. There was a lot of work to get these in place and move the dirt. The tractor could reach over the fence and fill, but with the rains and the mud, and it was a lot of labor. We've got lettuce, onions, and more onions, and then flowers. I've been told that all of this has been planted. We can go in and look at some tags. For this year, we will lay down some of that ground fabric, and the thought is to clear off some of this grass area. In the middle here, we've got lilies. We don't want to kill them. And this area here in front of me, we will also lay more plastic down. We do have some orchard trees that we put in here after we grafted. There's about 6, and then we got some raspberries, and this is like a sundry plot area that are destined to be relocated, but at least they're in the ground and it's living. And so moving down, lilies. I think ultimately they will get transplanted, but I'm not certain where. We have to figure that out. Let's see. This area over here, right now I'm just kind of staging materials. I've got roofing material over here, quite a bit of corrugated sheet that I can use for various projects. And I temporarily stack the posts over there. Now this is from the APHIS program of the USDA. I contacted them and they were gracious enough to supply me with a deer resistant fence. This is a temporary structure that I will put up in the next few days. We've got 550 yards of fencing material. We have almost 100 T-posts here, and you affix it to the T-post with zip ties. So I got those 3 things, and I'm just counting right now. Doing inventory, and then I will survey on the best use of this material. Some of it will probably most likely go to this vegetable area here that's not protected. This cattle fencing seems to be doing very good at keeping the deer out. So that's not going to be an initial focus to use this material for that application. But I can go definitely over here. Let's see. We can briefly look at the orchard, and then I think I'm going to head back up to the house. All the equipment seems to be working. This will be the energizer that I'll use for the fence in conjunction with the new deer-proof netting that I come out here and fortify my existing fence. As this is my 3D fence that's separate, it's two fences that are about 4 feet apart. It's about, I don't know, 75% effective. Deer do get in, and so I'm going to restructure this so there's less damage into the orchard. I'm gonna shield the camera from the direct sun. Yesterday I moved the tractor out here, and there was an aggressive berm here where all this dirt is, and I simply shaved it off, and I'm putting that material into this pond, which is, you can't tell it's a pond, but it's a hollow, and there's cattails, and I think this was created years ago to be a pleasant to look at pond. But what it did is it created a backup of water, and I speculate that this whole area became super wet and there was lots of loss of trees. So I'm going to be doing an attempt to irrigate, create a drainage opportunity. Sorry about that. A drainage opportunity for all this standing water to work its way down. Ultimately, if I could direct the water over this rise and over down that way, that would be great, and create a pond yonder, as they say. This is the status of the trees. Everything is producing apples. We're about 2/3 done with June, and here's a beacon apple. We can kind of see it is, oh, what is that? That's, I don't know, the size of a cherry tomato. So we're going to have lots of apples. We need to spray. I'm on the lookout for those tent caterpillars. Now is the time that they do strike, and so I need to come out and survey if there's any damage due to tent caterpillars. There's a sweet 16. Let's check for apples. They've always bared, you know, this a little bit smaller, but plenty of apples are going to be coming off of my sweet 16s. I know I need to mow inside these fences, and that's a big plus about having that fence be more effective. You can see some broken wires, and when I relocate, expand the orchard, and energize, I'm envisioning 3 rows of fences. There's going to be the 6-footer, and then the 2 lower ones with energized strips. And so I'm going to be moving possibly 15 feet beyond this point. Scattered thoughts, but when that fence is in effect, I can get rid of a lot of these hoops, and it will be way easier to mow, and the trees won't be so confined inside their tiny hoop. If you recall, these are pear trees. Yes, I did prune these back, and this is the level of vigor that these pears are. It's just, it needs a haircut several times a summer. Should be more like these. Yeah, I might come out with nippers. Once again, I did do a lot of pruning, but it just comes back super vigorous. While we're here, let's look for pear. I know I did see some. Well, right there, there's a tiny pear. Now recall, these aren't huge pears. This is a Uri pear, U-R-E. Here's one. It's maybe easier to see. And they taste good. These two over here are golden spice pear. And I did see some fruit. Let's see if I can show some. Yeah, here's one. Let's see. I'll gently reveal. Let's see. Here right on the tip. It looks like the other one right now, and up the branch you can see others. Golden spice pear. We're going to have that. Here's our state fair. Getting a little blush on some of these. That's good. They're all bearing. But we still want to spray. That keeps the fruits, the fruit flies and the bugs down. There's one. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that several trees. This is going to bear lots of fruit. So, various stages. These trees are just starting. They will probably bear fruit in 2 years from now. This one is showing good vigor. Too young to have any signs of fruit. But yeah, this coming out, deer get in the orchard, they nip at this stuff. That's what the USDA guy. This tree, I want you to see, is a victim of voles. In the winter time, the voles tunnel under the snow. They're totally protected, and they see a tree and they gnaw around it and do girdle the bark on the tree. So this one's half alive. I'm allowing this to live like throughout the season because it is bearing fruit, but this whole side is suffering. And you can see, if I pull back the weeds, this is what the voles do. They totally chew around and girdle. If it went all the way around, this tree is completely dead. But this side shows vigor because they didn't chew through, and you can see the wound here. So voles are bad, and I've set up traps. I'll show in future episodes. I'll have a vole version, but this one, yeah, this side is alive. This side is pretty much wiped out. There are obvious trees that are super struggle, and I hope that there's life, but in most cases, it's end of life. And so this guy, I thought would come back more, but the disease and the damage is so extensive that I got to take it out. Gotta take it out. This one is sad, and it will allow more sun in here. I might relocate. My mindset is to change the spacing of this orchard a little bit. So I may or may not plant here, depending on that tree or this tree. If the one on the left dies within the next 2 years, I might choose the middle point and just say, hey, that's a good spot for a tree. But this one looks not so bad. This one looks not so bad. This is the row that I heavily pruned last winter. You can see some of my butchery and thinning, and I think it was very beneficial. I've got some sweet 16s here, but mostly I call it Beacon Alley because a lot of these are Beacon variety. A lot of apples are coming here. Even though it's shady, it's a lot less shady than it was before. So I think I did a benefit for a lot of these trees. This one is curious. I'm going to have to decide what's going on here. I see some dead. I should maybe thin some out, but I'll hold off on that and see what happens. Maybe it's too shady and there's not enough light until it hits the sun. So maybe I have to figure out a plan. But we got apples. This is what a Beacon. They're cherry tomato size. We have more candidates for 2 more years left, and this is one of those guys. There's a level of rot, but life is here, and I allow it to live at least throughout this year, and it might come down next. Our young ones, last year I cut one out here. Same issue, a level of rot. Oh, I wanted to go down this aisle because we have the Hazens. Hazens, I reported that they were not doing so good, and there's a little bit of life in here. And what we're going to do before we cut this down, we're going to take this scion wood and we're going to graft and try to save the genetics. This is not a complete loss, but we can maybe save this Hazen. This one, you see some activity at the rootstock. That's not what I'm interested in. This is completely dead. I'll get my chainsaw. It's a shame. And then this one adjacent to it, this is our last Hazen. It's doing good. Let's see what the fruit, well, this branch maybe is a victim of deer damage because it's low hanging. But Hazen, I know I enjoy the flavor of the Hazens. They are very good. We need to propagate that and get more in the orchard. These are all doing well. And this one being on the edge gets a lot of sun. I'm going to watch this one. Now we're into Sweet 16 area. I've got a ton of these. You can see we're going to have another bumper crop of Sweet 16s. And it's going to be all the way down. We'll have to maybe thin out some of these so we don't have branch snapping. This one's going to have a lot of fruit on it. It's facing the sun. It's doing good. We need to maybe pick off some of these fruits so that we have fewer apples but better apples, because we are opening a market this year. This one, similar story. It's kind of wind whipped. A few more years left on it, and then we'll maybe regenerate this spot. What you can see on the other side of the fence is that I've been doing some passes with the brush hog, and I do have a space over here, and the thought is I can maybe expand the orchard 10-20 feet that way. And then if the fence or the series of fences are moved in that fashion, then I buy some rows that I can plant newer trees. So that's the thinking, is pushing out each side as much as I can to expand the fence. We are basically 300 feet, it's a square, 300 feet on each side, and that's just over 2 acres. I think it's 2.1 acres. So with the orchard, I'd like to, the fenced in area, leave a margin. Like I wouldn't plant a tree where I'm standing. I need to get equipment around the perimeter for harvesting, mowing, maintenance, etc. These guys are starting their 3rd year of growth. Once again, I need to mow, but they're doing well. I'm looking for those tent caterpillars. This is a species called Freedom. Of course, I went to the small one. I'm trying to see if there's any deer damage or why this one's stunted. Looks good. Freedom. These are Wolf Rivers. This is our 2nd attempt. Over there, a few years ago, we tried to grow some Wolf River. They all died. And so we have different strategies. The wire mesh for voles down below, the small wire mesh, and then this deer fencing, this hoop, and then plenty of watering. And that's how we've gotten this far, is the level of protection that we've been giving these guys. These species, not Wolf River. Let's see, what are we at here? This is a Jordan russet. Jordan russet. And this is Douce de Charlevoix. These 5. Yet a different type of apple. Hopefully makes good cider. There is a tree in here. And when I groom and mow, it will reveal and improve the health of this tree. These are enigmas. I've got 5 enigmas. And these guys here are Spartans. I think it's a mix of Spartan and stone. Let's see if I'm right. This one is not doing so good. But we're not going to yank it yet. I do need to mow and assess the health of that one. Does not look good. It might be completely dead. This is a frostbite. They show a lot of vigor from what I'm seeing. the hoops are definitely crowding trees like frostbite because they want to branch out. And with this protection fencing, they can't spread their wings. Wealthy. We've had wealthy trees in the past, and they've gone through their life cycle, and so we thought we'd replace them. And so we got 5 wealthy. The old wealthies were over there. These are the stones. These have been struggling for a few years, but now this year I think they're really going to grow a lot. The stone. First season I think we lost like 3 of them. A little bit taller row here. Northwest greening. I know this is one of our green apples. I'm not seeing any fruit. It's still quite young, but I do like the height on these trees. Northwest greening. This one, it's got the yellow leaves, but check that out. There's fruits. This one is doing strange. Is it in fact a Northwest greening? Nope, this is a brandywine crabapple. This tag is wrong. I gotta fix that. Brandywine crabapple. That makes sense. Crab apples are good to mix in with the cider. They offer so much flavor. Canada Baldwin. They're looking good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down at the bottom is another frostbite. And you can see how the branches want to go horizontal. That's a frostbite. Let's look at that one. That's a better example. Yeah, they are confined with this hoop house. You know, once it's mowed, I got to put this hoop back on, and it's just basically going to constrain the tree. And so I can't get that fence up soon enough. And then we could liberate this tree. Now you might be asking, what are these purple flowers? This is comfrey. This probably has to be thinned. And it offers good nitrogen content for the apple trees. Wherever we've got comfrey established on the trees, we're seeing benefits. We got some here. There's some comfrey located here and here. And on the crab apple that we saw, there's more comfrey over there. And just around the base of the tree, that seems to offer a good benefit. I'm walking this way because these historically are our first harvest trees, the Norlands. And last year, like the third week of July, I started hearing these trees drop their apples. So super early. I'm not a great fan of the taste, but a lot of times they are, during harvest time, all the apples have dropped. And so I'm not so familiar with the taste of Norlands. So this year might be different since I'll have more time up here. We'll get more Norlands in crates and possibly pressed and see how they cider. They're doing well. Let's see, what is Oh, it's about the same size. But super thick trees and fruiting every year. Fruiting every year. Look forward to see. And I'm on the other edge here. I think this is a pear. Am I right? No, this is a frostbite. This is the pear that didn't make it. Well, mostly didn't make it. Above the graft, you can see some life, but maybe this is an effect of a harsh winter. It still feels supple, but I'm not seeing buds. I'll let this go because I'll keep an eye on that pear, knowing that they are vigorous. Julienne pear, that's what that is. Harold red. This one is starting its third year. So 3. Things don't grow super fast here in northern Wisconsin, probably because the winters are so fierce and extreme. There was one day we had -40. This snaggly thing is struggling. Harold red. Let's look at this Norland and look for, yeah, I'm going to see some big ones here. We'll have to keep an eye on if I need to thin out some of these clusters. We'll give that a try. On this side of the orchard, I don't have a whole lot of area to expand to. And so I could go not quite 10 feet, but I don't see the reason why, just because of that obstacle and pond down here. So this fence might go out, I don't know, 2 feet at most. Just because I don't use this side of the orchard so much. This was the area that I suspect got flooded. I can see remnants of trees. There used to be one here where I'm standing, and then pacing off down the line, that was a divot. That's where a tree was. A tree was there, and a tree was here. And then, of course, that stump. Along this line, there also, I'm standing on a divot, and that's in line with this. You know, think of the grid. In line with there. 1, 2, 3, gone. 1, 2, 3, gone. These were all the wolf rivers that we had 100% loss. But once upon a time, the orchard, mature trees were over here. You can see remnants of stumps. There was a tree stump here, right where I'm standing. You know, big size. Gosh, that's like a 7-inch trunk. What happened? And I think they drowned. So we'll try to remedy that with irrigation and drainage. Not into the sun. The cherries, they are doing super well. These are on their 4th year, and they just did nothing for years 1, 2, a little bit of activity last year, but this year they are jumping up. And we have 5 altogether. This one's maybe more in the shade. It's doing the least of the 5, height-wise, but I've got good activity here on the cherries. I'm excited for the Bali cherry. So that's kind of a status, a third week of June status. Everywhere I look, I see I have more than enough apples that I can deal with this year. I'll be on top of it and try not to waste so much. And we'll try to get spraying done. And that would be nice. Yeah. Apples, apples, apples. We got good pollinators, and so they're doing their job. And I just need to keep on top of it. This year is more about the blueberries that we didn't look at and the vegetables, and assessing the damage and the overall health of the orchard. So getting the new fence will be good. And trying to strategize water management and how things will thrive and survive. On this side of the orchard, you can see I definitely have 50 feet that I could expand to, at least 30 feet. However, this can be wet as well. So rather than just simply expanding, I want to strategize about moving this edge. And then we've got the far edge moving, that would be west, because we're facing north this way. So thinning out this tree stand would be good. I think this is a shelter for deer. They can hunker down undetected. We will be getting deer tags for off-season thinning of the deer pressure. I think 8 will be issued to us, and we can that broke. Interesting. The tree is so strong it broke the cable. It's a nice oak tree over there. I have a robin living in that barn. So we're excited about the new fencing, the raised garden beds, the squash and pumpkin patch here. We had corn, we won't do that again. Squash and pumpkins, lettuce, and of course all the tomatoes and peppers that we can fill that high hoop house. And I've been thinning out this area. It's been left ungroomed. My vision is lilies here, to do all kinds of different hybridized lilies where I'm standing. This will need a lot of work to complete that. Or another option is to create space for visitors to come And this could be a parking area or like a staging area for people with the cars who are interested if we grow that big. But we have trees here that are just need to be revealed. All this thicket needs to be cut back and sunshine needs to be brought into this area because there is value here. If I can clear out a lot of this understory, I want to go off in this direction. There's plenty to slash. I can take these trees and just chip them up. That's beneficial. I can use that as ground cover. I do like this area, but it's overgrown. All these young trees, I'd like to thin them out. And this old hunter stand that I moved out of the forest and relocated here. I painted over a lot of the camo, and I'm going to transform this into our year one farm stand. And so the thought is that this will be out of the rain, but we'll set up tables for open display of our harvest area. And so it's not much to speak of, but we can definitely set up an on your honor exchange for vegetables, flowers, apple goods. We have a neighbor that makes maple syrup. We can give this a try and make this our first vegetable stand. It'll be nice to turn that closed sign into and flip it over into "we are open." That's going to happen later on. And so that's going to be the goal, is to show that cracked paint. We're in the process of revealing. We have quite a bit of lilies and other variety plants here. And it's been about half cleaned out. So more work to be done. It's bent over, hands in the fingernails in the ground kind of stuff. But we're getting on this. Surprisingly, this is at our entrance, this is a crab apple, and it's a mystery crab apple. I have used some of the fruit in cider, and it is wonderful. You can see this one will bear, and we will definitely add that into our cider. And it looks pretty too. Let's see. Some of them are showing a blush. A nice tree. Glad we got that. Glad it came with the property. It's a nice one. Today I cleaned out our pond. I did a lot of pulling of aquatic material out, and so every few years the cattails encroach, and the pond grasses and the muck, the leaves and stuff, the organic material, and we lose the shoreline due to that. And so I just spent a day of yanking and pulling. It comes out pretty good. Throw it up on the banks here. There's a lot of nutrition here, but the goal is to clear out the pond so it doesn't become like this completely organic, I don't know, muck pool. And in the wintertime, I groom it and do some skating and bring out the ATV, do whoop-de-doos. It's kind of a fun place. We have turtles, snails, frogs, maybe some snakes. No fish. No fish. And that kind of comes to the end of a little walking June tour. I'm collecting pavers for future projects and setting them here. I got the tractor ready to move dirt or bush hog some of the perimeter trees that are encroaching out on the fields. And it's a nice day. Low winds today, clear skies, not too hot.